The elevator doors slid shut with a soft metallic sigh, and in that tiny, mirrored box, Daniel Carter finally allowed his shoulders to slump. He stared at his reflection, the wrinkled shirt he had ironed at dawn, the tie he'd borrowed from his neighbor, the tired eyes that hadn't known real sleep in years, and whispered to himself, "It's okay, you tried." He had just failed the interview that he believed could change his entire life. He didn't know that in less than 5 minutes, the most powerful man in the building would be running after him. Before we begin, if stories that touch your heart and remind you why hope still matters make you feel something deep inside, please like this video and subscribe to the channel KindlyTube. Your support helps us share more real, emotional stories like this one with the world. Daniel had not always been a struggling single dad. There was a time when he had been simply Daniel, a young man with dreams, a steady job, and a laugh that came easily. He worked as a junior technician at a small electronics company, saving slowly but proudly for a future with his wife, Emily. They weren't rich, but they were rich in plans. They talked about buying a small house, traveling one day, and giving their future children everything they never had. Then life, as it sometimes does, took a cruel turn. Emily fell ill during her pregnancy. What started as minor complications became something far more serious. Daniel spent nights on a hard hospital chair, holding her hand, whispering promises he wasn't sure he could keep. When their daughter Lily was born, she was tiny but beautiful, with eyes that seemed far too wise for such a small face. Emily saw Lily once, smiled faintly, and then closed her eyes for the last time. Daniel walked out of that hospital with a newborn in his arms and a hole in his heart that words could never fill. The world did not pause for his grief. Bills came. His company downsized. Within a year, Daniel lost his job. He tried everything: delivery work, night shifts at warehouses, repairing phones from a small table near a bus stop. Some months were manageable. Others were terrifying. But through it all, Lily grew. She learned to walk while holding onto his worn jeans. She learned to talk by calling him Dada in a tiny voice that could break and heal his heart at the same time. By the time Lily turned 6, Daniel knew he needed something more stable. He wanted a job that could give her health insurance, a safe home, and maybe even a small college fund one day. That was when he saw the posting, an entry-level technical support position at a massive technology corporation owned by none other than Billionaire CEO Richard Hargreaves. The company was famous for its strict hiring process, but also for fair pay and real growth opportunities. Daniel prepared like his life depended on it, because it did. He studied interview questions late into the night after Lily fell asleep. He practiced answers in front of the bathroom mirror. He ironed his only good shirt again and again, trying to make it look less old. On the morning of the interview, he kissed Lily's forehead and promised, "I'm going to do my best today, okay?" The building was breathtaking: glass walls, polished floors, and people who walked with confidence that seemed to echo through the halls. Daniel felt out of place immediately, but he held his head up. He reminded himself that he was here for Lily. The interview room was quiet, almost cold. Across the table sat 2 recruiters and a senior manager. They asked him about his education, his past experience, and his technical knowledge. Daniel answered honestly. He did well at first, but when the questions became more advanced, covering systems he had never had formal training on, his confidence began to crack. He tried to explain that he was a fast learner, that he had taught himself many skills out of necessity, but he could feel the shift in the room. The polite smiles became neutral expressions. Pens paused. Finally, one of the recruiters closed her notebook and said gently, "Mr. Carter, we appreciate your time today. However, we are looking for candidates with more specialized experience for this role." Daniel nodded. He stood up, thanked them, and walked out with dignity, even though his chest felt like it was collapsing inward. In the elevator, he swallowed hard, reminding himself that he still had Lily, and that he would find another way, somehow. What Daniel did not know was that the senior manager, after he left, quietly mentioned his case to Richard Hargreaves, who happened to be visiting the office that day. Richard, a man known for his sharp business mind, asked casually, what was unique about him. The manager replied, "He's a single father. Lost his wife years ago. Not fully qualified, but very sincere." Something about that made Richard pause. He didn't say anything more at the time, but later, from his glass-walled office, he saw Daniel walking toward the exit with slow, heavy steps. There was something in that walk, not laziness, not defeat, but a tired determination that stirred a memory in Richard. Long ago, before the wealth, before the towers of glass and steel, he too had walked out of offices with rejection letters in his pocket. Without another thought, Richard stood up, grabbed his jacket, and headed for the elevator. Daniel had just stepped outside into the bright afternoon sun when he heard a voice behind him. "Sir, wait." He turned around, confused. A tall man in an expensive suit was jogging toward him, clearly out of breath. Daniel recognized him immediately. It was Richard Hargreaves himself. I'm sorry," Daniel stammered. "Did I forget something?" Richard smiled, catching his breath. "No. You didn't forget anything. We did." He invited Daniel back inside, this time not to the interview room, but to his personal office. The space was large, but warm, with photos of family on the shelves instead of trophies. Richard gestured for Daniel to sit. "I won't pretend your technical background is perfect," Richard said calmly. "But I saw something in you that doesn't show up on resumes. I saw responsibility. I saw someone who isn't just looking for a paycheck, but for a future." Daniel listened in silence, his heart pounding. "I started with nothing," Richard continued. "And there were people who took a chance on me when I wasn't the best candidate on paper. They changed my life. I want to do the same for you." Richard offered Daniel a position, not the original one, but a paid training role that would prepare him for a permanent position within 6 months. Full benefits. Health insurance. Growth opportunities. Tears welled up in Daniel's eyes, but he fought them back. "You don't know what this means to me," he whispered. "To my daughter." "I think I do," Richard replied softly. 6 months later, Daniel passed his certification exams with flying colors. He became a permanent employee, and within 2 years, he was leading a small team. Lily moved into a brighter apartment with her own room painted in soft purple. Daniel no longer counted coins at the grocery store. He started a small savings account in Lily's name and told her, "This is for your future." Years later, when Lily stood on a school stage receiving an academic award, she looked into the audience and saw her father clapping, his eyes shining with pride. Daniel thought back to the day he walked out of that glass building, believing he had failed. He realized that sometimes, what feels like the end is actually the beginning of a miracle. So if you are watching this and feeling like you just failed, like life closed another door in your face, remember Daniel's story. Keep walking. Keep trying. You never know who might be running after you with the opportunity that changes everything. And if this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to the channel KindlyTube, because your support helps us share more hope with people who need it most.